I accidentally kicked the god of war into the animal reincarnation cycle. He was reborn as a black panther on the grasslands. To make amends, I had to descend to the mortal world and transform into a rabbit to accompany him through his tribulation. The black panther was raised by me and calls me sister. He just kept clinging to me more and more. When it was mating season, he refused to leave the nest to find a partner, only licking my fur all day long. Later, my immortal power was restored, and I returned to human form. In an instant, he pinned me down beneath him, his black body pressing over me. Sister, now that you've taken human form, you should be able to endure anything, right? Lost again, I wandered through the woods, trying to catch Harrison's scent, but I didn't notice 3 wild rabbits following behind me. Hey, little one, a wild rabbit twice my size hopped in front of me, looking me up and down. Where are you from? I've never seen a rabbit with fur like yours before. White rabbits aren't suited for hiding, so they're indeed rare in the wild. None of your business. I didn't have time to deal with him, so I walked around him. He licked his lips and pounced, pinning me down. Never mind, you look pretty cute too. Come and have a litter of babies with me. The other 2 rabbits also came over, sniffing around me. I kicked my legs a couple of times but couldn't get up. Suddenly, I remembered that rabbits are in heat all year round. Perverts, what a tonic. The rabbit above pinned me down, poised to strike. Don't be afraid, I'll be quick. I was about to faint, covering my butt and trembling. Just as I was debating whether to use immortal magic, a dark shadow flashed before my eyes. Before I could react, blood splattered all over me. The other 2 hairs soon met their end as well. The black panther fiercely tore off a rabbit leg, staring down at me with a somewhat angry look. Sister, didn't I tell you it's dangerous outside and you shouldn't come out? I chuckled awkwardly. Harrison, I was just worried about you. Harrison tossed the rabbit aside and licked my fur with his thick tongue. My body shivered, and I puffed up my cheeks, scolding him in a muffled voice. How many times have I told you not to lick my tail? He ignored me and groomed me all over. Didn't sister also fail to listen to me properly? With that, he opened his mouth and held me, carrying me toward the cave like a mother panther carrying her cub. The gray wolf living next to us saw this scene and burst into laughter, mocking Harrison, probably the only panther in the world who treats its prey as family, and worships her like an ancestor every day. Aren't you ashamed? I awkwardly rubbed my nose. A majestic black panther, always carrying a white rabbit in its mouth that was dozens of times smaller than him, did look rather out of place. Harrison gently set me down, raising a pair of golden eyes to glare coldly at him. Keep talking, and I'll tell your wife about your little rendezvous with your mistress. The gray wolf choked and didn't dare to speak again. I lay on the hay, noticing Harrison licking his fur again, and couldn't be bothered to move. Harrison, you're not young anymore. It's time to settle down. He paused mid-action and nudged me into his embrace. The black fur wrapped around me tightly, making it hard to breathe. Big sister, do you dislike me now? Not at all. If you keep saying things like that, I'll... As if to punish me, he gently nibbled on my rabbit ears, his canine teeth slowly grinding against the pink inner flesh. I'll just eat you up. I almost wished he would. At least then I could escape sooner, but he didn't even break my skin, leaving me unbearably ticklish until I finally begged. Stop, I won't say it anymore. He finally stopped, contentedly rolling around with me in his arms twice. No hunting today. Just resting well with elder sister. I sighed in his embrace. I couldn't help but worry about my future. What should we do now? I turned the god of war into a sister con. I was originally the newly appointed god of destiny in heaven. On the day the god of war descended to the mortal realm to undergo trials, he came to report to me. He was tall and mighty, radiating an overwhelming aura of ferocity. When silent, his dark expression was somewhat intimidating. As a newly appointed official, I felt somewhat nervous facing this first celestial being to handle. By accident, I cast the wrong immortal spell and sent him into the animal reincarnation path. I lay on top, gasping in shock. The god of war was kicked into the animal reincarnation path by my misfired immortal spell. If he regains his divine status, won't he kill me? Panicked, I sought help from the god of marriage. She was also quite shocked and, after thinking for a long time, came up with an idea for me. How about you go down to accompany him? Though the war god was reincarnated in the wrong place, the trials he must face won't be any fewer. You stay with him, make his suffering easier. Maybe when he returns, he'll remember you and spare your life. It sounded reasonable, so I followed the war god down. Little did I know, I would transform into a scrawny rabbit. Fortunately, with a bit of immortal magic, I finally found the god of war after searching for a long time. No wonder they say it has to be the god of war. Even when reincarnated into the animal realm, he still managed to be reborn as a black panther, the apex of the food chain. Though a black panther, he still had to follow these damn tribulation rules. Harrison was abandoned by his mother shortly after birth due to his frail health. I picked him up and raised him with great care. Originally, I thought that once Harrison grew up, he would go off to reproduce and build his own nest, and my task would be complete. Who knew he would stick by my side like this, refusing to leave at all? I pondered for a long time before making up my mind. Since he wouldn't leave, then I had to be the one to go. After Harrison became capable of hunting independently, he usually acted alone. As for me, I just reaped the benefits, waiting at home for him to bring back wild fruits. Before, I was worried he might get bullied, so I couldn't help but follow him around anxiously. But after following him for a while, it absolutely terrified me. Harrison disdains small game and specifically picks fights with fierce beasts. In just one day, he killed a giant python, 2 tigers, and 4 wild bulls, yet managed to walk away unscathed. It seems I was overthinking it. With his warrior spirit, how could he be easily bullied? If there's any weakness, it must be this useless rabbit. Me. Once, a female leopard chased after Harrison in courtship, only to see him kissing and cuddling me, a mere rabbit. The look in her eyes was beyond contempt. No, I can't delay Harrison's romantic prospects any longer. That morning, Harrison instinctively nuzzled against me as usual. Sis, wait for me. Obediently, I mumbled a vague response, ears perked up high, listening clearly to his direction. Noticing Harrison had gone to another mountain, I quickly grabbed 2 carrots and made my escape. To prevent him from finding me, I deliberately left scents along different paths to confuse his sense of smell. After running for 3 full days, I finally rested in a cave. I slowly mobilized the divine power within me, trying to contact Moon Mother to bring me back. Unfortunately, I had spent a lot of energy raising Harrison before, so I needed some time to recover. Fortunately, the tree hollow where I lived was well hidden, and no wild beasts would disturb me. Every night, I climbed to the treetop, munching on carrots while absorbing the essence of moonlight, striving to recover as soon as possible. One day, while I was sound asleep in my cave, I was suddenly awakened by a loud crashing sound. The animals seemed terrified, fleeing desperately in the same direction. Strangely enough, they were all large beasts. Yet they appeared as panicked as herbivores being chased by predators. Sensing something was wrong, I stopped a small deer to ask what was happening. He shook his head. Don't even mention it. There's a black panther acting like a madman these past 2 days, hunting down beasts everywhere, asking if they've seen a white rabbit. How ridiculous is that? There are so many rabbits. Just catch another one to eat. Wouldn't that be enough? But that black panther beat them black and blue, demanding they confess. This is literally the most absurd thing I've ever heard. He seemed rather gleeful about it, giving me a couple of extra glances. You seem to be a white rabbit too? Haha, yeah, I answered mechanically, my soul already gone. Suddenly, the tree I was in shook violently. I grabbed the tree trunk and looked down. The fawn had already vanished. My heart raced as my gaze shifted to the side. I found myself staring straight into a pair of cold, furious golden eyes. Instinctively, I climbed higher. The tree trunk shook again, nearly making me fall. Sister, will you come down yourself, or shall I come get you? Harrison stared at me, exuding an intimidating chill. I swallowed hard and insisted, Harrison, you must bravely step out and establish your own family. If you keep clinging to me like this, they'll all say you're not normal. Your sister left you for your own good, not normal. Harrison didn't take in much of what was said, fixating only on that one word, turning it over in his mind. Is it normal for a rabbit to raise a leopard? Is it normal for me to call you sister, after years together? Sister says it's not normal. Too late now. He looked up at me, his gaze growing increasingly obscure. Between you and me, it was never normal to begin with. I frowned, feeling there was something slightly off about his words, yet couldn't quite pinpoint what it was. I looked up at the moon. The full moon was big and bright. Perhaps I could use it to contact the moon goddess. I gritted my teeth and leaped upward, desperately praying for divine power to surge forth quickly. Slowly, I felt my body growing warm, my heart leaped with joy. I was one step closer. Suddenly, a fierce wind swept past. The misty dark clouds drifted over, completely shrouding the moon. I was dumbfounded. Sister. My hind legs slipped into empty air, and the back of my neck was swiftly seized by teeth. Harrison's voice, filled with bitter resentment, came from behind. Sister, you're really going to be the death of me. I was thoroughly avenged. Harrison rolled me into a fur ball, tumbling me from one end to the other. I shouted angrily, "What are you doing?" He lifted his paw and gently kneaded on me. "Making biscuits. What's with this old guy making biscuits?" Then he tucked me into his embrace again, thoroughly licking every inch of my body without missing a spot. It was like I'd taken a bath. My entire fur was left dripping wet. The damage is minimal, but the insult is immense. Enough. He held me tightly, expressionless. "Sister, from this day forward, I will leave my scent on you every single day. Within 100 miles, no beast would dare harm you, nor dare take you in." I refused to give up and found another loophole to sneak out again. I hadn't gone far before the gray wolf quickly brought me back. He carefully placed me back in the burrow, his eyes gleaming green with excitement. "The boss said if I catch you, he'll cover my dinner for 2 days. It will be even harder for me to escape in the future." Harrison's move is truly cunning. I glared at the gray wolf in annoyance. How can you be so spineless? Hey, when it comes to survival, what does pride even matter? He saw a patch of bright red carrots in front of the cave and casually asked, "Did you plant these carrots?" I replied listlessly, "Harrison planted them. He cleared another patch of land these past 2 days. Now it seems like the plan is to keep me penned up." The gray wolf was dumbfounded, sniffed me again, and immediately ran far away reflexively. "This is marking territory. No way. Did he really fall for a rabbit like you? That's insane." He shook his head and left with a sigh. I turned around in confusion, just in time to see Harrison returning. He nudged me with his nose and circled around me. "Sis, have you been good today?" I replied weakly. "Yes." He nodded in satisfaction, leaned down, and gestured to me. "Come on, let's go take a bath in the river." As soon as Harrison entered the water, several crocodiles were so frightened that they scrambled and rolled, quickly fleeing to the shore. He paid no attention, coiling me up with his thick, long black tail, and leisurely swam around in the water. The combat power of the god of war is terrifyingly formidable. With no natural enemies whatsoever, I worriedly thought. If he ever realizes his cultivation has been destroyed and flies into a rage, who could possibly protect me? Just as I was feeling depressed, Harrison beneath me suddenly froze and passed out. I hurried down to check on him, only to hear a familiar voice. "Don't be afraid, he's just temporarily asleep." I turned toward the voice, both startled and delighted. "Luna." She crouched down with a smile, curiously poking my round, plump belly. "Fate god, you seem to be living quite comfortably," I said with a woeful face. "Don't mention that. How am I supposed to get out of this now?" She withdrew her smile and said seriously, "I've roughly understood the situation. I reckon the god of war wouldn't take a liking to these uncivilized creatures, so why don't you help him take human form and find him a sweetheart? I'll play matchmaker for him later. How about that?" A spiritual herb appeared before me and landed in the palm of my hand. "Find a chance to make the war god take this, and he'll soon transform into human form." Harrison woke up quickly. The moment he opened his eyes, he grabbed me in his mouth, vigilantly scanning the surroundings. "Sister, we can't stay here for long." I pondered while bouncing in his mouth, wondering if I should take the chance to stuff the divine herb into his mouth. Suddenly, Harrison stopped abruptly, and I nearly tumbled into his throat. "Someone's here." I focused my gaze and saw that it really was a person. She was an unconscious human woman, with delicate features, sloping shoulders, and a slender waist. I quickly called Harrison to stop and take a look. He hesitated. "Sis, I don't eat humans. Save her." Harrison refused to help, so I had to go down myself. Using all my strength to pull the woman out, he stood by for a long time, watching as I couldn't even move 10 steps, then gritted his teeth and pushed me aside. After the woman woke up, she frowned and let out a few pained cries. Why does my body hurt so much? Because Harrison had dragged her all the way to the cave impatiently and roughly. feeling a bit embarrassed. I scooped some water with a leaf for her to drink. A rabbit? Could it be that a rabbit saved me? She exclaimed in astonishment. I shook my head and pointed at the black figure outside. Harrison seemed to sense something, turned his head, and bared his ferocious fangs at her with a menacing snarl. The woman was so frightened she nearly fainted again. So it really was you who saved me. She automatically ignored Harrison, holding me in her arms and giving me a thorough rubdown. Such an adorable rabbit, so soft to the touch. She introduced herself as Vivian, saying she had been robbed by bandits while searching for relatives and barely managed to escape with her life. As I caught the scent of her fragrance, a clever idea struck me. If Harrison transforms into a man, coupled with this heroic rescue, wouldn't it be the perfect opportunity to play matchmaker? I ran outside and poked Harrison, pointing upward. Look, there's an eagle over there. Seizing the moment when he instinctively opened his mouth to look, I stuffed the celestial herb into it. Harrison was speechless. Sister, if you want to give me something to eat, just say the word, even if it's poison. I clamped his mouth shut and shook him hard. Don't talk, swallow it quickly. This immortal herb was long and tough to chew. Harrison couldn't swallow it for the longest time, so I had to bite off the outer section. Vivian reached out from behind and pulled me away, her voice filled with panic. Little bunny, you should stay away from that dangerous creature. Seeing Harrison's face darken again, I quickly tried to calm him down. Don't be angry. Be gentle with the girl. He suppressed his impatience. I need to rest. Send her away, but she might get eaten by wild animals outside. Let's just squeeze in together for tonight. He let out a deep sigh, gritting his teeth in disgust. Sis, this cave reeks. You'd better kick her out tomorrow. How could it smell bad? I sniffed and frowned. The beauty's scent was a bit strong, not like the usual rouge or powder, but as soon as she hugged me, I felt drowsy. Harrison has run off somewhere, perhaps out of anger. But it's all right. The celestial herb will soon take effect. The mindset in human form and beast form is always different. By then, he'll be free from his attachment to me. I closed my eyes, but sleep eluded me no matter what. A surge of energy roamed restlessly within my body, leaving me no peace. Unable to bear it any longer, I rushed outside for some fresh air. Suddenly, my foot slipped, and I tumbled all the way down to the edge of the pond. Under the moonlight, the calm, unrippled water surface clearly reflected the image of a youthful girl. I suddenly remembered. The piece of immortal grass I had just bitten off seemed to have been swallowed in the midst of the struggle. Just as panic set in, a sudden force from behind pushed me into the water. Fortunately, the water wasn't deep. I wanted to stand up straight and start cursing, but he lifted me up first. Seeing his face clearly, I froze for a moment. Harrison, you, his dark figure pressed close to me, his eyes burning with intensity. Sister, now that you've taken human form, you should be able to endure anything, right? What nonsense are you talking about? As soon as the words fell, I subtly felt the place I touched change from soft fur to robust, firm muscles. From looking straight ahead to tilting my head up, I watched in disbelief as Harrison transformed into a human. His features were handsome and sharp, with cold, hard lines in his profile. I was stunned. I hadn't noticed before. But the god of war was actually quite good-looking. The experience of his human form was indeed different from his beast form. No, now both of us are naked. Harrison sensed my resistance, pressing one hand against my waist while his forehead touched mine, his voice hoarse. Sister, why do you always push me toward others? His gaze was full of sorrow, colder than a deep pool, yet my body was burning with heat, making my face flush and heart race. I struggled to stay conscious, trembling as I conjured clothes for both of us, but the more I panicked, the less strength I could muster. I still wanted to correct his thinking. Harrison, you're just mistaking sibling affection for love. This is a twisted kind of love. There's no possibility between us. If we were really together, how awkward would it be when we meet again in the heavens later? Harrison's eyes grew increasingly cold and dark as he gripped the back of my neck, forcing me to look up. Sister, I truly wish to devour you whole, so your flesh and bones may forever merge with mine. He kissed the side of my neck, the barbs on his tongue gliding over my skin, sending shivers down my spine. Slowly, the scorching kisses moved toward my lips. Dazed, I reached out and held him. Be gentle, Harry. His eyes suddenly cleared. What, Harry? I covered my mouth, feeling a bit guilty. Nothing, I misspoke. Sister, I sighed. In that case, I won't hide it from you. My heart belongs to someone else. I can't accept anyone else. He clearly didn't believe me and sneered. You'd better explain everything clearly to me. I draped my coat over my shoulders and sat on the rock, beginning to narrate slowly. Before ascending to immortality, I was once a tea-picking girl in the mountains. By chance, I found an injured fox at the foot of a cliff and took it home to care for it diligently. After the fox recovered, it transformed into a young man who clung to me coquettishly, insisting on pledging himself to me. I thought the mountains would be lonely, so I agreed without hesitation. Thus, we spent 2 years together. After hearing this, Harrison questioned me in detail without showing any expression. I answered each one of them, because that was truly my past. I really loved a fox named Harry. The more I asked, the darker his face became. What happened next? He's dead. I let out a sigh, reluctant to recall that memory. Harry was accidentally killed by villagers while playing outside. Staring at Harrison's indifferent face, I said earnestly, if you can accept being his substitute and calling out his name during intimacy, then I can try being with you. He nearly laughed in anger, stared at me for a long time. Finally, it all dissolved into a calm sentence, go back. For several days in a row, Harrison was nowhere to be seen. He really hesitated. Harrison has an extremely strong sense of pride and wouldn't accept such an absurd idea from me. It seems that Black Panther isn't coming back. Vivian asked, do you want to leave with me? It wouldn't be so bad to spend the rest of my life with Vivian, without Harrison by my side. She crouched down, scratching my head with a bewitching voice. Come on, little bunny, come with me. I squinted, feeling so comfortable that I grew drowsy, and nodded. She picked me up, walking down the mountain while softly coaxing me. Sleep now, you'll be home when you wake up. Drowsiness set in, and my eyelids began to feel heavy. Sister, hearing Harrison's voice, I opened my eyes, jumped out of her arms, and ran to Harrison. He asked me angrily and helplessly, where are you running off to this time? Where to? I wasn't planning to go anywhere. I was a bit confused and complained to him, I should be asking where you've been these past 2 days. Why didn't you tell me? I've been nearby the whole time. Didn't you notice, sis? I shook my head in confusion, turned around to see no one behind me, and felt as if I had forgotten something. Big sister. Harrison lowered his head, touched my nose, and gently nuzzled it. I've made up my mind, he calmly said. From now on, I'll change my name to Harry. Ha! Harrison's expression didn't waver in the slightest. Go ahead and treat me as his substitute. I couldn't believe it. You mean, you don't mind that I have someone else in my heart? He slightly narrowed his eyes, his golden pupils gazing at me with tenderness and patience. Harry is just your past. What I seek is your future. I opened my mouth, unsure of what to say. To say I have no feelings for him at all would be a lie, transferring the guilt from the war god to Harrison, who knows nothing. Isn't that unfair to him? You two are so sweet together. Mind if I join in? Vivian appeared out of nowhere, staring at us with a forced smile. She eerily curved the corners of her mouth, her face undulating like waves, morphing into many different visages. Is Vivian a monster? Before I could scream, a fierce wind swept through, transforming the surroundings in an instant. Beneath a grand peach blossom tree, a handsome and elegant young man gazed at me with deep affection and sorrow. Nancy, do you still remember me? I froze. Nancy was my name when I lived in the mortal world. Seeing my blank expression, he anxiously stepped forward to remind me. I'm Harry, the fox you once saved. We lived together for 2 years. Do you really not remember? I shook my head again. He mumbled, his voice dropping low. I once betrayed you. Before he could finish speaking, I rushed forward and gave him a good beating. You knew you betrayed me, yet you still dared to show your face in front of me. I told Harrison that Harry was dead, but it was actually a lie. Not being able to forget him was an even bigger lie. Foxes are naturally unrestrained, and not long after we got together, he would often disappear without a trace. Once, I endured the pain of my bloody, mangled feet and walked all night through the mountain paths just to find him. He was seen embracing a village woman's waist, kissing her passionately and lingeringly. I was absorbing her vital energy at that time. Harry grabbed me and quickly explained, Nancy, believe me, I never dared to cultivate in that way again after that day. I shook him off and said coldly, I made it very clear that day. I can't accept the nature of your fox clan, nor do I have the ability to tame it, Harry continued to plead. Nancy, I exchanged 500 years of cultivation with the heavens just for the chance to meet you. Please think about it again. I was stunned for a moment. Harry had truly gone to such lengths for me, but that was as far as it went, so, from the moment I picked you up by the roadside, it was all a lie. I shook my head. Harry, you're still the same as before. Let me go. Harrison is waiting for me. Harry's expression changed, his voice turning cold. Do you really think his feelings for you are genuine? He raised his hand and waved his sleeve, releasing an illusion. Inside it appeared another version of me. She was standing with Harry, speaking coldly to Harrison. Since Harry isn't dead, I'll be with him again. Stop clinging to me. I don't believe it. Harrison blocked her path, casting a wary glance at Harry. Sister, I won't let you leave my side. Harry's illusion was masterful. Even the gesture of me turning away was flawless. Harrison stared at my back for a moment before finally catching up. Harry raised an eyebrow and sneered. If he can't even see through you, does that even count as liking you? So what? I turned cold and said, even without him, there's no possibility between you and me. Harry was slightly annoyed but soon curled his lips into a smile, softening his tone as he said, it's all right, with time, you'll understand my heart. Until then, you can stay here. With that, he turned into smoke and vanished before my eyes. I wandered through the peach grove, searching everywhere, but couldn't find the exit. Only then did I realize that Harry had completely imprisoned me here. Harry wouldn't let me leave, though food and drink were never lacking. A few little foxes appeared punctually every day, trembling as they brought food before me. I'm not being hard on myself. I eat while pondering countermeasures. Here, let's see what foolish thing your Harrison has done today. Harry crosses his legs and starts watching the show again. Lately, he's been forcing me to check on Harrison's current situation, only to mock him mercilessly afterward. I glared at him but still couldn't resist looking at Harrison. At this moment, I was leaning in Harry's arms, a cold smile on my face. Harrison, you follow me around like a dog all day. Isn't it annoying? I've worked hard enough raising you. Can't I even pursue my own happiness? Harrison could no longer maintain his human form and reverted to a black panther, still silently following behind. A few more scars marked his face, and his left leg limped slightly, injuries he had sustained while protecting them over the past 2 days. I clenched my fists, torn between anger and heartache, wishing I could punch Harry right then. Harry, you've already captured me. Is it really necessary to keep tormenting him like this? He pretended to be wronged. Don't blame me. He's the one who refuses to leave, stubbornly clinging to follow. Harry moved closer to me, striking while the iron was hot. Nancy, he's so useless. He can't even protect you. You and I have food and drink here. Isn't that much better than hunting with him? Just stay with me. A surge of anger rose within me. I've never suffered a day with Harrison, and besides, I love his scent, unlike you with your stinking fox odor that chokes people. You? Harry jumped up in fury, his face turning crimson. Fine, you like him, do you? Then I'll make sure to kill him. The next moment, he vanished from the spot. The me in the scene suddenly froze, eyes turning sharp and icy. My breath tightened. Harry leaned over her. He curled his lips and slowly retreated to the edge of the cliff. Harrison's pupils constricted as he stumbled forward in a desperate sprint. Sister, be careful. By the time he arrived, Harry turned around and used the momentum to push Harrison off the cliff. My heart leaped to my throat, and I almost screamed out loud. Fortunately, Harrison didn't fall. His front claws dug deep into the rocky soil, while his hind legs exerted force, gritting his teeth as he lifted his entire body. Harry stared in astonishment as he climbed up in just a few steps. Before he could utter a word, Harrison pounced on him, pinning him to the ground. Finally, I've waited long enough. Harrison viciously bit into his throat, his gaze icy. Tell me, where is my sister? Harry's face was filled with terror, blood gushing from his neck, yet he still managed to sneer. As long as I'm alive, you'll never find her. Harrison's expression remained unchanged, but his sharp teeth sank in deeper. Harry didn't even dare to breathe. Quickly focusing his energy to cast a spell and escape, he returned to my side, his face deathly pale. What kind of black panther is this? Just one bite drained me of my vital energy. seeing me still looking at Harrison with concern. He angrily wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth and said venomously, "I don't care where he came from, I'm determined to kill him today." If it really came to a fight, Harrison in his current state still wouldn't be able to match him. I sighed inwardly and steeled myself. Don't kill him, I'll go talk to Harrison and make it clear, so he can give up completely. Then I'll come back and stay with you forever, Harry asked suspiciously. Really, you know illusions can't fool him, I said with a hint of intimidation. If Harrison really fights you, you're no match for him, why risk mutual destruction? Harry hesitated for a moment before agreeing. If you dare lie to me, I'll kill him and lock you up here forever. Harrison was no longer in the same spot. Following the scent, I found him at the base of the cliff, after the illusion faded. Harrison was attacked by the wolves and forced to retreat into the mist-shrouded woods. Since reaching adulthood, he had never been in such a dire situation. I channeled the divine power within me, infusing it into his body to heal him. Harrison's injuries were mostly healed, and he reverted to his human form. As I placed my hand on his forehead to continue the infusion, he suddenly pinned me beneath him. Harrison gripped my throat, his brows furrowed in irritation, coming to die again. I closed my eyes and transformed myself back into human form. Harrison, let me go quickly, there's not much time left. He stared at me in slight shock, his grip tightening as he let out a cold laugh. You're getting better at pretending. Me in the illusion had stabbed him too many times. Harrison was now seeing enemies everywhere. Unable to distinguish reality from illusion, I had no choice but to straighten up and kiss him. A fleeting touch, suppressing my blush, I stammered. Now do you believe me? Harrison's gaze darkened as he closed in on me, enunciating each word deliberately. Sister has never taken the initiative to get close to me. He curled his lips in self-mockery. She has already abandoned me and run off with that fox. Even if I were bullied and left to die in the wilderness, she wouldn't spare me a second glance. I covered his mouth again, eagerly sucking on his thin lips to comfort him. I couldn't bear to see him wallow in self-loathing. He let me kiss him but remained motionless, refusing to part his lips. Only his golden eyes watched me quietly. I knew he had unresolved feelings, so I stopped, unsure where to begin explaining. Believe it or not, I've long since lost any feelings for Harry. He took the initiative, pressing the back of my head and delving in deeply. I keenly sensed Harry's presence drawing closer. Foxes are petty. Even if I broke things off with Harrison, he wouldn't let him off the hook. Harrison noticed my distraction, his predatory wildness fully revealed as he fiercely captured my lips and tongue. He panted, his voice hoarse, yet his eyes were misty. Sister, if you abandon me again, I'll never see you anymore. I lowered my head, not daring to respond. Sister, there's no time left. I bit through the root of my tongue and kissed him, transferring the blood to him, rapidly reciting the incantation silently. I pressed a ball of white light that had gathered at my fingertip onto Harrison's chest. This was my final trump card, restoring the war god's divine power. With only 30% of divine power, it's more than enough to defeat 10 Harrys. Sister, your body is turning transparent. Why? Harrison seemed to realize something, his voice trembling slightly as he called to me. Sister, don't fall asleep, I'm a little scared. Talk to me. Please, sister, don't scare me like this. Using one's body as a curse, once broken, the original form will vanish. I sighed, mustering the last bit of my strength, and apologized. I'm sorry, Harrison, I have to leave you again. After returning to the heavenly court, I secluded myself for 3 days due to my diminished divine power. Luna came looking for me, was turned away several times, and eventually barged in, seeing me lying on the bed in a daze. He dragged me up. You're a deity. What are you doing sleeping? The mission is complete. So why the long face? I pulled myself together and asked in confusion. Didn't it fail? I didn't make the god of war experience human suffering, nor did I help him achieve any great imperial feats. After my mortal form perished, my divine consciousness returned to the heavenly court, and I secretly peeked at the aftermath of my death. All I knew was that Harrison ultimately annihilated Harry on the spot. But beyond that, I couldn't see anything else. Luna explained to me. In the past, when immortals descended to the mortal realm, they usually had to experience resentment and hatred, separation from loved ones, or unfulfilled desires. But in recent centuries, few immortals have ascended, so the requirements for them aren't as strict. experiencing just one of these is enough. I nodded. I see. Luna flipped through the book of fate and praised me. But fate god, you really have a way. The pain index of the war gods, parting from loved ones and unattainable desires has skyrocketed, setting a new record in nearly 10,000 years. There's such a record. What kind of twisted amusement is this? Suddenly, I remembered the despair and sorrow in Harrison's eyes before death, and an indescribable ache filled my heart. Luna noticed my thoughts and kindly reminded me, after surviving tribulations, immortals drink the emotion-suppressing water to stabilize their heart. They would never linger over mortal affections. You shouldn't get too attached to him. Yes, Harrison is completely different from the god of war. I snapped out of my daze and replied to her quietly, I understand. A golden decree suddenly appeared in midair. The god of war returns today. All deities are invited to the banquet in celebration. The banquet was attended by an extraordinary number of immortals. Hiding in the back, I could only see the god of war's tall and broad back. A pang of bitterness rose in his heart. A day in heaven equals a year on earth. Did Harrison really only live for 3 years, having not held a banquet for a long time? The heavenly emperor drank excitedly and began spouting nonsense with a flushed face. The god of war has successfully overcome this tribulation, all thanks to, god of fate. Where is the god of fate? Just had to bring that up. I steeled myself and slowly shuffled over. Your humble servant is here. The heavenly emperor pointed at me and continued boldly, God of war, you should properly thank the god of destiny. I waved my hands nervously, sweating profusely. No, this is just a small duty of mine. I breathed nervously, stealing a glance at him from the corner of my eye. The god of war remained as imposing as ever, his aura menacing. He took a step back and bowed calmly with a composed expression, Fate immortal. You are too kind. It was Harrison's face. Yet it wasn't Harrison. I casually made a couple of excuses and quickly retreated to my seat. Luna clicked her tongue and remarked, this god of war looks fierce, but he's actually quite generous. He didn't even hold it against you for messing up his reincarnation. When she noticed I wasn't responding, she turned to look at me and was startled. Why are you crying? I held the wine glass and smiled numbly. No, the wine is too strong. She studied me for a long moment before sighing, God of fate, should I get you some water of forgetfulness? It'll help once you drink it. I shook my head and downed 2 more glasses of wine. Luna quickly took away the wine jugs, warning me, I'll go get them now, don't drink anymore. After she left, I went to the next table and grabbed 2 more jugs of wine, stumbling my way outside. I hadn't taken more than 2 steps before someone seized my wrists and pinned me against a pillar behind me. The wine jugs clattered to the ground. The next instant, shadows loomed over me as lips pressed down, grinding against mine with a heavy, ruthless force. I struggled, letting out muffled whimpers, desperately pounding against the wall-like solidity of the body before me. The god of war gripped my chin, his cold, sharp black eyes swirling with undercurrents, whether pain or hatred, I couldn't tell. You want to drink the water of forgetfulness? I froze. The voices of the guests behind us reached my ears, and fearing discovery, I struggled to push him away. No, we can't. Before I could finish, he fiercely kissed me again. Suddenly, I tasted a faint saltiness, my heart lightened, and seizing a moment between breaths, I looked at him. Are you crying? No, he lowered his head, not letting me see his expression. I reached out to lift his chin and whispered, what I meant was, come to my place. As soon as I lay down, the black tail tightly wrapped around my waist. I sensed danger and quickly tried to back away. Immediately, he bit my ankle and dragged me back, flipping me over. His sharp fangs pressed against the back of my neck. It's the posture of a beast controlling its prey's vital points. The rough surface of its tongue slowly glides over my back, as if it's about to devour me the next second. Another itch on my head. I reach up, furious. How did you make my rabbit ears appear, and the tail too, you? One moment I see a black panther, the next moment it's Harrison, as if to retaliate against me. He attacks my vital points. Sister, I hate you. You always leave me behind without a second thought. I really hate you for that. A long time later, when I was exhausted from being tossed around, I heard an extremely hoarse, almost imperceptible whisper. I missed you so much. Luna's voice reached my ear, waking me up. I carefully got up from Harrison and tiptoed out. I came to bring you the water of forgetfulness. Luna noticed something with sharp eyes. Oh my, you're blushing. I covered my neck. Harrison is resting inside. Luna suddenly understood and clapped her hands in realization. Making love, making love is good. I was puzzled. What's making love? She waved her hand. Just a new term in the human world. In that case, I suppose you won't need the water of forgetfulness. She rummaged in her pocket for a while and handed me something. Here, take this. I'll be waiting to celebrate your wedding feast next. I curved my lips into a smile. Luna, thank you. As I entered, I bumped into Harrison's restless gaze searching around. Seeing me, he froze for a moment before lying back down, turning his back to reveal a scarred back, and snorted coldly. I was slightly surprised, thought it over carefully, and then understood. Did you think I ran away? Harrison turned around and grabbed my wrist, saying fiercely, I should have tied you to my side so you'd never think of leaving me. Sure, I nodded without hesitation. I took out the red thread Luna gave me, tied one end to his wrist and the other to mine. The red thread flickered a few times and disappeared. I grinned happily. Now we're bound together forever. His gaze flickered slightly, but his tone remained stiff. Since you're confessing your love to me, I suppose I can reluctantly agree. Are all injured cats this tsundere? No matter. Just stroke their fur the right way. I tousled his hair and pecked his lips under his warning gaze. I love you too, Harrison extra. The first time he met this minor deity of fate, he found it quite amusing. Her timid eyes didn't dare to look at him, like a rabbit. With every word he spoke, her body trembled slightly. It made him unable to resist the urge to tease her, unexpectedly. He just mischievously said during her spellcasting, Are you afraid of me? He was cast into the animal realm. A rabbit found him and raised him. After growing up, hearing other beasts discuss, he began to wonder, why was a panther like him raised by a rabbit? He couldn't figure it out. Then don't think about it. He just wanted to keep her close, lick and nuzzle her, and grow carrots for her. But his sister was really too annoying, always running away from him. In his anger, he planted another field of carrots, trying to choke her to death. Later, she ran off with a fox. What's so great about foxes? They stink and are fickle. He had recognized the sister who came looking for him long ago and pretended to be pitiful for a while. So she kissed him, then she vanished completely before his eyes. Not a trace of scent could be found. He had never felt such panic before. In despair, he could only desperately console himself. His sister was a fairy, who had often shielded him from misfortune in the past. Perhaps she would reappear after some time. The first year passed, and his sister did not return. He guarded a vast vegetable field, thinking that as long as she returned, he would grow carrots for her for a lifetime. The second year, she still hadn't come back. He pleaded in his heart, just to see her one more time. He would do anything. The third year, he began to hate his sister. Why do you always act on your own? Why do you always abandon him, making him suffer through the rest of his life like this? If I ever see her again, I'll skin her alive and devour every last bit of her flesh and blood. Fate God side story. Opening his eyes once more, Harrison returned to his divine throne. Recalling the past, he sneered at the mortal Harrison, who had actually driven himself to a depressive end over a mere rabbit. Nor did he intend to settle scores with the god of fate. After all, he was the god of war. Such trivial matters were beneath his notice. At the banquet, when he met the god of fate, his expression remained very calm. She also appeared quite composed. Then, he heard that the goddess of marriage, Luna, was going to give her the water of forgetfulness. He didn't even drink. What's she drinking for? As expected, he still wanted to eat her, to devour her whole. I hate you, she smiled brightly. I love you, I'm so annoyed. Just one kiss, who cares? After hearing the first story above, what are your thoughts? Feel free to share your opinions in the comments section. Next, there is another similar story. Let's continue to see. I turned into a snake, a king cobra. Every time I go to the stream to drink water, I get so startled by my own reflection that my scales puff up. It's just too majestic and intimidating. Downright terrifying. I haven't even adjusted to being here yet. And already it's the breeding season when all things come back to life. Just kidding. As a spiritual snake like me, how could I possibly breed recklessly? But there are other spiritual snakes who want to breed. I glanced at the short and stubby Dinagkastroden beside me. Stay away from me. or I'll eat you. We're the only two spirit snakes around here. If you don't breed with me, who else will you breed with? The 100-pace snake lazily flicked its tongue. Is breeding the only thing on your mind? So annoying, maybe I should just eat it. Gulp burp full now. The genes of my original form have given me an appetite for all my own kind. I can't resist it either. Eat or die. Still an easy choice to make. I never expected this denadcastrodon to be so nutritious. Oh no, it's brimming with spiritual energy. It instantly triggered my transformation, having limbs again and being able to walk upright. This feeling is absolutely amazing. God knows how many knots I tied myself into when I first turned into a snake. After transforming, I rushed eagerly to the stream. Out of habit, I braced myself mentally, then timidly peeked over. The water's surface reflected a beautiful face, slender, slightly arched eyebrows, a straight yet delicate nose, and lips as red as cinnabar. What a perfect blend of beauty and valor. Finally not creepy anymore. Over here. Catch it and bring it back. A sudden voice rang out. Who to catch? Before I could finish admiring it, I was forcibly dragged away by two people. They dragged me into a cave. The entrance stretched downward endlessly, and after walking for an unknown length of time, it suddenly opened up, revealing a massive cavern before my eyes. Tiny specks of fluorescent light on the stone walls illuminated the entire space. Within the cavern, various structures stood in an intricate and elegant arrangement, numerous in count, with a grand palace at the very center. After leading me to the palace, the group of people clasped their hands and said, "Greetings, Snake King. I have patrolled 1,000 miles around, and she is the only shape-shifting snake demon found. What's this? You're not planning to devour me for cultivation, are you?" The man on the high platform narrowed his eyes to scrutinize me, his sinister gaze seeming ready to swallow me whole. A king cobra, no less, humph, worthy of this king. The Serpent King lifted his eyelids, his arrogant expression revealing a hint of satisfaction. A match. Could this one also be looking to breed? The Serpent King rose and descended the steps one by one, gradually transforming back to his original form. He began to circle around me, displaying himself. So it's a cobra, and an albino one at that, with a soft pinkish hue. The contrast with its arrogant posture couldn't be more striking. I grumbled inwardly, if only my cultivation level wasn't lower than yours. A little snack like you would be gone in one bite. Even if I can't win the fight, I can't afford to lose face. The form can still be shown off. Watch closely, this lady is about to transform too. With a quick flip in place, I reveal my true form as a king cobra, jet black, glossy scales, an upright upper body, and a fully expanded hood. I do my best to appear more imposing, to show them who looks more like a king. Who could tell the pink snake was male and the black snake female if no one mentioned it? Perhaps it was instinctive suppression. Despite the Snake King's high cultivation, he still trembled slightly when facing my true form. Handsome, right? Cool, right? Aren't you scared? Even I'm scared looking at myself. After my transformation, all the palace attendants, including the general, had left, leaving only the Snake King and me in the hall. Come back, who will I show off to if everyone's gone? At this moment, the Snake King slithered toward me. That pinkish snake face actually gave me the impression of, you know what's up. He pressed down on part of my spine, placed his tail against mine, and began exploring back and forth. I was stunned. Then I understood. These beasts with nothing but reproduction in their minds. I turned my head toward him and, snap, took a bite, missed. He dodged really fast. I transformed back into human form, and so did he. You. I pointed at him. Stammering incoherently, overwhelmed with shame and anger, the Snake King flicked his sleeve. How dare you refuse me? Do you think I brought you back here for nothing? He sounded utterly self-righteous. Did you even ask for my consent? I am your king, and I don't need your consent. The Snake King narrowed his eyes, exuding a dangerous aura, so cringe and speechless. Your king has arrived. Why are you all so obsessed with reproduction? I voiced the question in my heart. For ordinary snakes, it is their nature. As for us spirit snakes, it is to protect our kind. Over the past 1,000 years, the snake clan has declined, and shape-shifting spirit snakes are now fewer than 1 in 10, teetering on the brink of extinction. If foreign races invade in the future, how will we have the strength to resist? The Snake King looked utterly distressed. Even so, you should respect snake rights. I'm not a tool, you must obey this king's command. Left speechless, under such an authoritarian system, no reasoning could possibly get through. I was pondering how to effectively refuse. A few more people walked into the hall. Brother, it's not right to monopolize the female. Indeed, it's been 100 years, and only one shape-shifting female has appeared. How could you not share with your brothers? I am the king of the serpent clan. How dare you covet my mate? In the blink of an eye, the serpent king transformed back into his true form, his body swelling in size, adopting a battle stance. The others also swiftly revealed their true forms, clearly preparing for the most primal form of combat. I was just about to sneak away when I inadvertently turned my head for a glance. Were the brothers of the Snake King, what a motley crew, green bamboo, black-browed, golden-ringed, silver-ringed, and hundred-flowered brocade. I wonder what their father was like. Stop, a commanding, magnetic voice rang out, halting both them and me in our tracks. Greetings, father. Several snakes instantly ceased their battle, reverting to human forms and bowing respectfully to the newcomer. No need to wonder anymore. Dad has arrived. I sized him up and down, curious about what species he was. This Dad seemed to see through my thoughts, lowering his head to suppress a chuckle. He didn't look much older than his sons. His features were wild, yet his gaze was surprisingly compassionate. Combined with his smooth white hair, it added a touch of mature serenity. This father figure stood at an estimated 2 meters tall in human form, with broad shoulders and a narrow waist. His proportions were impeccable. He was walking toward me slowly, exuding an overwhelming presence. Miss, my sons have been too presumptuous. If they frightened you, I apologize on their behalf. His aura is so unique, gentle, powerful, utterly captivating, making one want to submit. So alluring. I shook my head, trying to rid myself of these muddled thoughts. Laying eggs is out of the question, no matter how tempting it is. Why is your son a different breed? My mouth moved faster than my brain, and the words slipped out before I realized how inappropriate they were. He chuckled softly, showing no sign of anger. They are not my biological children, but were picked up from the common folk in earlier years. I see. So what breed are you then? You certainly have a way with words. He teased me, avoiding a direct answer. Then what's your name? My curiosity was getting the better of me. All serpents are my subjects. You may address me as father, like they do. Sorry, but I don't have the habit of randomly acknowledging fathers. I rolled my eyes. Treat him well and mind your manners. After giving these instructions to the others, he vanished into thin air. Yes, the group replied with cupped hands. After the Snake King's adoptive father left, his brothers began staring intently at me again. May I ask, elder brothers, if I can leave now? I took the initiative to address them as brothers, making my stance clear. Their expressions varied, with the emerald snake teasing, "You can't leave. It's currently the breeding season. It's safer for you to stay in the Serpent Palace, little sister." With that, he raised his hand and pointed in a direction, summoning a palace attendant to lead me to my quarters. Upon reaching the room, I noticed the attendant was also a girl, so I asked her, "Are you a snake too?" This servant's original form is a mountain hare. Wow, that's quite bold. A rabbit working in a snake den. Are there any other female snakes in this serpent palace? Answering the young lady, there are none. Why is that? For nearly 1,000 years, the lands have been scorching hot. Most of the hatchlings born were male, and female snakes capable of cultivating human forms have become exceedingly rare. In 100 years, only you have been found. Hiss, this doesn't look good. What's the background of that Snake King's adoptive father? This servant dares not speak presumptuously of the honored master. Go on, tell me. It's just between you and me. Heaven knows, earth knows, you know, and I know, also. What's his name? Mountain Rabbit looked troubled. Don't worry, he won't find out. I continued reassuring the little rabbit. No one in the Serpent Palace knows the origins of the revered master. All we know is that his name is Chase. Chase, sounds nice. Then why doesn't Chase become the Snake King himself? The venerable master was once the Snake King, but later retreated from the world to cultivate, abdicating the throne to young Master Bruce to handle the Serpent Clan's affairs on his behalf. Bruce must be that albino King Cobra. During my days in the Serpent Palace, I devoted myself to rigorous cultivation every day. I feared that one day, If I encountered an enemy, I would be powerless to resist and dragged away to lay eggs. Fortunately, the Serpent Palace housed numerous cultivation manuals, allowing for rapid progress. Today, as I was meditating as usual, several voices came from outside the door. Hey, have you heard? That 10,000-year-old mountain ginseng has reached perfection, and several lords are preparing to harvest it. Whoever is fortunate enough to obtain it would at least reach the half-immortal realm, right? Then let's guess who will get it. I'll bet 10 spirit stones on Lord Green. I'll bet 20 coins on the Snake King. TSK, you newbies really don't get it. The Snake King has just been with the Lord the longest. In terms of cultivation, Lord Green is superior, with better odds of winning. A 10,000-year-old mountain ginseng. Sounds like a good thing, if I can get it. Maybe I won't have to be controlled by others anymore. I found the mountain hare and subtly inquired about the route before venturing out in the dark, yet I failed to notice the emerald green figure lurking in the shadows behind me, as he slowly curled his lips into a smirk. We king cobras, also known as mountain crossing winds, are incredibly fast. In no time, I arrived at the location of that wild ginseng. Strangely, the surroundings were eerily quiet. Wasn't it said to be a treasure beyond compare? How could there be no one guarding the mountain ginseng? Never mind, I'll eat it first and think later. Gulp. With one bite down, the taste was quite good. A surging wave of spiritual energy filled me once again. Unlike the last time when I was filled with spiritual energy, this time after eating, I felt a bit hot, probably too nourishing, I thought. I turned around, ready to flee the scene of the crime. A emerald green figure flashed into view. Blocking my path, sister, was the mountain ginseng tasty? Green tilted her head with a triumphant smirk. It was, all right. I felt a bit uneasy inside, whether it was due to nervousness or the effects of consuming the 10,000-year-old mountain ginseng. I could feel the air growing increasingly hotter. Suddenly, I feel a bit of an urge to reproduce. What's going on? Asterisk slap. Asterisk I gave myself a loud slap to force myself to snap out of it. Green crossed her arms and watched me leisurely. Little sister, stop resisting. For snake demons, the 10,000-year-old mountain ginseng has an excellent aphrodisiac effect. Green's thin lips parted, not uttering a single human word. So, was it his plan to make me eat this mountain ginseng, this despicable snake, while still conscious? I suddenly lunged forward to fight him. After 10 moves, I was utterly defeated. As a king cobra, to be pinned down by a mere green snake. Do you know how humiliating that is? I refused to accept this. My eyes darted around. Since you show no mercy, don't blame me for being ruthless. I decided to feign compliance with Greater Green Snake, planning to kill him when he was most vulnerable. Easier said than done. In the throes of overwhelming heat, staying clear-headed was a challenge. And I nearly lost control several times. To combat this, I secretly bit the tip of my own tail a few times to force myself to stay alert. Finally, the moment arrived. Just as Greater Green Snake was about to succeed, I suddenly struck, sinking my fangs into his vital spot and injecting all my venom. Emerald Green was horrified, channeling all his strength to smack me away with his tail. I crashed into the nearby mountain rocks, the pain feeling as if all my tendons had snapped. And I spat out a mouthful of blood. I stared fixedly at Emerald Green, watching him struggle for less than a moment before he gasped his last breath, lying lifeless on the ground. Serves you right, you sleazy snake. The strange heat emanating from my body made me ignore most of the pain. I reverted to my original form, enlarged my body, and swallowed that emerald green snake. It's been a long time since I've eaten so much. For spirit snakes like us who have cultivated to this level, we can immediately absorb and utilize what we swallow as soon as we consume it, but today's nourishment was really too much. I'm so hot I feel like I'm about to explode. The spiritual energy contained in the emerald green far exceeded that of the previous pit viper and mountain ginseng. I felt something was on the verge of breaking through. What was originally a quiet, moonless, and windy night was suddenly split by a bolt of lightning across the sky. My lightning tribulation had arrived. I looked around, but there was nowhere to hide. The pain in my body also made it impossible for me to go far. With a deafening boom, the lightning struck my already injured and less agile torso. It hurt, a searing, flesh-tearing kind of pain. As expected, I couldn't dodge the next few strikes either. struck by lightning until crispy on the outside and tender inside. I lay straight on the ground, completely done for. Failed the tribulation, kicked the bucket, aha, indeed. Cultivation must be taken step by step, haste makes waste, even when it comes to self-defense gains, heaven won't allow it, just as my soul was drifting, feeling the call of the underworld, ready to be reincarnated, a tremendous force pulled me back into my body. With great effort, I opened my eyes. It was Chase, his snake core is inside me, rapidly healing my wounds. Sleep now, Greater Green Snake brought this upon herself. It's not your fault, his voice was mesmerizing. And I fell into a deep slumber. I don't know how long I slept, but when I woke up, I saw lush bamboo groves and had no idea where I was. I looked down at myself, my body mostly buried under fallen bamboo leaves. I shook off the leaves and realized my current form had grown at least 3 times larger than before, with the imposing presence of a giant beast, even more domineering. I was quite pleased, just as I was leisurely slithering left and right. The sound of crackling and bamboo snapping came from afar. You're finally awake. The voice came before the person. It was Chase. Suddenly, a massive snake head appeared right in front of me, facing it directly. All I could see were a few scales as large as iron walks, towering like a wall. The scales were as hard as iron, with a dark bluish-black hue that emitted faint glimmers of cold light. I tilted my head back, trying to see the entire giant serpent. Straining so much I nearly folded myself in half before finally glimpsing a portion of the colossal creature before me. How big was it? Even if I stretched myself out, I'd probably only match the length of its head. The giant serpent lowered its head, its blood-red eyes, each as large as half a house, locking onto mine. In the snake's eyes, I saw my own trembling figure, shaking like a sieve, red eyes, green head, black body. Its massive form left no doubt. This was the ancient ferocious beast. The boss snake, who wouldn't tremble at the sight. I wasn't even worthy of being a snack between its teeth. Chase probably noticed my fear and transformed into human form. Sorry, I sensed you had awakened and came over in a bit of a hurry. Did I startle you? And no, not at all. The mighty Lord Devil Snake is awe-inspiring, and this humble one is honored to witness your true form. It is truly my fortune. I also transformed into human form, still trembling. Almost on the verge of kneeling right there. You don't need to be afraid. My dietary preferences are different from yours. Compared to snakes, I much prefer eating elephants. Chase attempted to reassure me. Calming was ineffective. I took several deep breaths, trying hard to steady myself. It really wasn't my fault for being timid. The sheer presence of the boss snake's original form was overwhelmingly intimidating. I have megalophobia. Great one, why did you save me? After all, I ate. I wanted to say it but didn't dare. It's fine, Greater Green Snake made a mistake and should bear the consequences herself. As for why I saved you, it's because I once cast a divination. The signs showed that you could break the decline of the Serpent Clan. Fine, fine, it's all about making this lady reproduce again. I'm already numb to it and just want to change the subject. Your Majesty, where is this place? The Wind Forest's secret realm, a world I created. You may rest and recover here for now, without worrying about being plotted against, but I still hope you'll interact with my adopted sons in the future. Both Bruce and Jack are worth considering, though they may be overly straightforward in temperament. Their character is reliable, and they will treat you well. Please don't. Can't I just stay in the Windforest Sanctuary and not go out? I asked timidly. Why are you so averse to males and reproduction? Chase was utterly perplexed. I dare not deceive your excellency. I was originally human, but for some unknown reason, I woke up one day as a king cobra. Reproduction might be a snake's instinct, but I'm not a complete snake, nor can I accept laying a clutch of eggs. I plead earnestly, hoping your excellency will take pity and show compassion toward me, but you only have 1 month left before. Chase hesitated, his face clouded with concern. Before, what? I looked at him blankly, full of confusion. Never mind, let nature take its course. What's your name? Name? No one has asked for my name since I came to this world, but my original name was Lucy. Not cool at all. My name is Christina Davis. That's right, I'll take my lord's surname. From now on, if anyone dares to bully me, I'll just drop my big brother's name. Christina, haha, all right. Chase Davis smiled and patted my head with a look of affection. Yes, successfully acknowledged as family. Having an older brother is better than having a father, right? At the center of the secret realm lies a cold pool, and at its bottom is the exit. If you ever grow tired of staying and wish to leave, you're free to do so. Is this permission for me to stay in the secret realm indefinitely? Then what if I want to return to the secret realm? How do I get back in? The entrance to the Wind Forest secret realm can only be opened by me. When the time comes, you can summon me within the Snake Palace's territory, and I will sense it, but I still hope you don't enter and exit the secret realm too frequently. After all, I'm not exactly idle, Chase added. I obediently nodded to show my understanding. Life in the secret realm was too comfortable. Mountains, water, lakes, and fruit trees, all well maintained by Chase. Today, pick some fruit, tomorrow, grill some fish, endless resources, inexhaustible supplies, bliss. Every day, I was busy exploring new areas, running around with endless joy. A month passed by in no time. That day, I was wrapping my tail around a bamboo stalk, spinning myself around, playing the game of whirlwind top, but my body began to feel unwell. At first, it was just a sense of thin air and a sour, bloated lower abdomen, but soon my whole body grew restless and feverish. This familiar sensation was just like that night when I ate the 10,000-year-old mountain ginseng. It was as if my body was screaming, I must reproduce. Things are looking bad. I shouted loudly, Your Excellency, hoping he would step in to help suppress it. No response. Chase, where are you? I grew anxious and continued calling. Still, only the sound of wind rustling through bamboo leaves remained. This time, the sensation was more intense than ever before. I was so agitated that I slithered around aimlessly, my tail lashing back and forth, snapping countless bamboo stalks. Just as my consciousness was about to collapse, I realized I had slithered to the edge of the cold pool, a lifesaver. I immediately plunged in, the icy water enveloping me, dispelling some of the heat, but only slightly. I thrashed about wildly in the pool, trying to absorb more of the cold, but it was ultimately futile. The corrupt thoughts grew. And I had reached my limit. I could bear it no longer, deciding to leave the secret realm. Who cares about cobras or flower-patterned snakes? Just grab whichever one you can. The moment I made the decision, I swiftly darted toward the exit at the bottom of the pool, but I collided with something as hard as iron, with a slight elasticity. Upon closer inspection, it was Chase, but he remained motionless, as if dead. The tip of the tail lightly tapped his eyelid, but there was no response. Gathering strength, the tail suddenly lashed out. Before it could land, Chase opened his eyes, but I couldn't stop in time. He watched helplessly as the strike connected. In an instant, with a thunderous roar like a tsunami, Chase's massive true form emerged from the icy pool, dragging half the water with him as he surged outward, sweeping me along in the deluge. Your Majesty, hear me out. I was worried you might drown. That's why I tried to wake you. I didn't mean to hit you on purpose. Ridiculous, how could a python possibly drown? But there's no way I'd admit I lashed out at him just because I was irritated. No matter, today is your mating season. It's understandable you'd be irritable, so you knew all along. Why didn't you tell me earlier so I could be mentally prepared? I gave him a resentful look but didn't dare voice my complaints. Bruce or Jack, which one do you want? I'll summon it for you. So this is where you were waiting for me. No wonder you didn't tell me in advance. I want you. In my current state of agitation, I boldly spoke my mind and took bold action. I immediately coiled around his tail, though I could only wrap around half of it. To him, I must have looked like a wriggling maggot, squirming with all my might. The giant snake froze for a moment before flicking me off with his tail. I can't. You can't. What can't you do? I stared at him blankly, my eyes wide with confusion. Your estrus period will last for 3 days and nights, uninterrupted. I have 6 hours each day when I can't leave. What are you going to do? Incubate? He's in charge of this too. There are 10 eggs of common snakes in this cold pool, hard to come by. I need to incubate them here for 6 hours every day, due to the extreme heat in the 8 desolations over the past 1,000 years. The snake tribe has found it extremely difficult to breed females by using the cold pool water. I've created a low-temperature incubation environment. At the same time, I infuse spiritual energy into the common snake eggs daily. This not only protects the eggs from water erosion but also helps awaken their spiritual intelligence in advance. If successful, this method might break the snake tribe's predicament. I'm about to faint from the heat and can't focus. Then what about me? I just want to know what I can do. Bruce, Jack, no, no, I impatiently interrupted Chase. If I hadn't run into him, I might have settled, but now all I can think about is his scent. What kind of enchanting demon is this? I cannot. The serpent kin are something I can never abandon. Chase's face was full of hesitation and distress. Is it really that serious? Then cast some spell to get me out of this awkward situation. I conceded. Not even the power of the boss snake can reverse nature. Then knock me out, I said in despair. Chase pondered for a moment. That might work. Action followed words as Chase swung his tail tip toward me. I blacked out. Don't ask why it's the tip of the tail. If it were the whole tail, I'd have been smashed into paste. I don't know how long I was out. Hiss, that hurts. My head, this Chase really. Who hit someone on the back of the head. He almost got my 7-inch. Fortunately, upon waking, all the heat in my body had dissipated, leaving me feeling fresh and clean as a snake again. I woke up still by the cold pond, with no bamboo forest around, yet my body was once again covered in bamboo leaves. Could this be the blanket Chase made for me? I entered the cold pond, and sure enough, Chase was at the bottom, incubating eggs again. How much longer do you need to incubate? Ever since I lashed out at him last time, I've felt he's not that scary after all. Not sure. Although the cold pool can increase the chances of hatching a female, it also slows the development of the snake eggs. The hatching time can no longer be predicted by normal standards. Then when will my next estrus be? Next month, once a month. I was shocked. Normally it's once a year, but last time you were in heat and I knocked you out. It was just a temporary measure, treating the symptoms but not the root cause. You've already been unconscious for 7 days. Counting the days, you'll go into heat again in 21 days. How annoying. 21 days passed quickly, and the familiar scorching sensation returned once more. I was just about to go find Chase to ask him to knock me out when Chase happened to come looking for me. Success, success. Chase was extremely excited. Among these 10 snake eggs, a female spirit snake was born. The serpent clan has hope now. Chase carefully held the little snake in both hands and showed it to me with great caution. It was a red-banded snake, small and soft, utterly adorable. All hatched, right? I confirmed. Oh, yes. Chase's mind was entirely focused on the little snake in his hands, responding to me with noticeable delay. I'm feeling aroused, I stated bluntly. Only then did Chase react, his 2-meter-tall ancestor figure actually starting to blush. So you, still, only want me? Chase began to act coy. Or would you rather knock me out again? I decided to tease him. Fine. Chase looked disappointed, but his execution was extremely strong. A flicker of a tail tip came at me. Don't. Before I could refuse, I was knocked out again. When I woke up again, my head was pounding, and I decided, next time, absolutely, I won't rely on being knocked out as a solution. You're awake. A girl's charming voice came through. Who's there? I lifted my head to look. I saw a girl with her hair styled in a serpent-like bun, dressed in fiery red clothes, with delicate and beautiful features, crouching on the ground looking at me. And you are? Could she be that little red snake? I am a red-banded snake. Brother Chase calls me Rose. So it really is that little red-banded snake. How long have I been unconscious? The kid has grown so big already. And what's this about Brother Chase? So male snakes get to be fathers while female snakes get to be brothers. I suddenly feel a bit jealous for no reason. Where's Chase? Big Brother went to the human world to search for snake eggs. He said he'd be back before the crucial time. Crucial time? Does it mean my next estrus cycle? How long was I unconscious? I don't know. Ever since I took form and saw you, I've been lying here. Chase returned quite quickly, coming back to the secret realm with 3 snake eggs the very next day. Sigh. Snake eggs are getting harder and harder to find. Chase lamented with a sigh. How did you come back so fast? Weren't you supposed to return only at my critical moment? Today is your estrus period. What? I've been unconscious for a month. I pointed at the egg. So do you still need to incubate it? We'll incubate it 3 days later. A blush crept onto Chase's face again. Finally, I won't have to endure another beating. or else I might not know when I'll wake up next time. The familiar rush of passion descended once more as Chase led me into the bamboo grove and set up a barrier. I transformed into a serpent's tail while keeping my upper body human, instinctively wrapping myself around Chase in the throes of passion, mimicking my actions. He conjured a much thicker serpent's tail than mine, exploring my own with his. 2 hours had passed, still no success, frustrated by the stirring emotions. I grew annoyed. Can you actually do it or not? I demanded of him. This is my first time too, Chase said with shy innocence. No way, you've lived for tens of thousands of years, and this is your first time. What kind of innocent ancestor of the snake tribe is this? Mating is for reproduction, and there isn't a single snake in this world capable of bearing my offspring, so there's no need to engage in it, Chase said with a straight face. Why can't they bear your offspring? The devil snake is a fierce beast, born from the essence of heaven and earth. Only another fierce beast or divine beast can produce offspring with it. Then isn't this the perfect tool? Snake? It can satisfy desires without laying eggs. As they spoke, Chase finally found the right place. We had a pleasant and harmonious exchange that had nothing to do with life or death. That beast was indeed difficult to deal with. 3 days later, I felt as if my body had fallen apart, completely exhausted and losing consciousness. When I woke up, I found myself being held in Chase's arms. He cradled me with one hand, as if holding a child. The other hand was holding an ancient book while reading. When he saw me wake up, he leaned down and pressed a kiss to my lips. You've been in a coma for 3 months. 3 months, that long. Suddenly remembering something, I began to squirm uneasily. Then, apart from hatching the eggs, will you always hold me? I said shyly. It's Rose's turn to incubate the eggs now. I've been holding you for these 3 months, shy. The treatment sure changes once you become the wife. Back then, they would just toss me into the wild and cover me with bamboo leaves. That was it. I stood up, ready to go down and stretch my legs, but I felt something strange about my body. It seemed much heavier, especially around the waist and abdomen. Just as I was groping around, pinching my waist in bewilderment, Chase pulled me back into his arms and happily told me, "You're pregnant." What a bolt from the blue. Wasn't it said that she couldn't conceive? How could she be pregnant? She will likely give birth in the next few days. One shocking revelation after another. I will personally incubate our child. Don't worry, I have plenty of experience. Stop talking. Stop talking. I have a headache. You said you couldn't give birth, didn't you? What's going on now? Logically speaking, it shouldn't be possible. Perhaps it's because the snake clan has suffered unjustly for thousands of years. And the heavens have granted compensation, using me as compensation. What kind of reasoning is that? I lowered my head to look at my belly, finding it hard to accept this reality. A few days later, the due date arrived as expected, and I was forced to revert to my original form to give birth. Fortunately, laying eggs wasn't as bloody as human childbirth. Painless and effortless. I produced 3 eggs. To be honest, I didn't quite dare to look at those eggs. It felt oddly uncomfortable. It's been a while since I turned into a snake, but to this day, my psychological racial identity remains human. Chase, on the other hand, seems overjoyed. Probably never imagined he'd become a father. Is that why he makes every snake he picks up call him father? The thought just occurred to me, that massive python, guarding 3 eggs day and night without moving. Coiled up like a small mountain, the egg was difficult to hatch, and it took Chase a full 3 years before there were any signs of cracking. I squinted, curious about what would finally emerge. Chase held my hand tightly, looking visibly nervous. At last, the first egg began to hatch. A pink little snake poked its head out, and as Chase reached out his hand, the snake obediently crawled onto it. A pink king cobra. This world has no justice left. It was a baby girl, and Chase couldn't put her down. Pressing the little snake against his face and kissing it over and over, the second egg followed closely behind. As soon as a crack appeared, a red light burst forth. In an instant, the eggshell shattered into pieces, and a chubby little snake, plump and fleshy, stretched out its head and tail, with red eyes, a green head, and a black body. It perfectly inherited its father's traits. A male little boss snake. They waited and waited, but the third egg showed no signs of movement. The other 2 little snakes had learned to take human form within days of hatching, clamoring noisily to leave the secret realm and play. Chase, still worried about the third egg, tucked it close to his body and led us out of the secret realm, unexpectedly. As soon as we left the secret realm, the egg began to hatch, a golden light burst forth from the egg, and a black-green serpentine creature with wings as thin as cicadas emerged. It's actually a dragon snake. Chase was utterly stunned. The little one shook its wings and flew into the air, circling around. Before long, the sky became overcast with dark clouds, and heavy rain poured down. This heavy rain lasted for a full 7 days. After the rain cleared and the skies brightened, the land was no longer scorching hot, returning to normal temperatures. The hatchlings that later emerged from their eggs, whether ordinary snakes or spirit snakes, had a much more balanced male-to-female ratio. Thanks to the powerful reproductive capacity of their species, the snake clan flourished once again. They were even revered in the human world as totems symbolizing fertility and life. Chase felt deeply gratified by this. Mother, look at me quickly. I just shed her skin. Am I pretty? Have I grown a little bigger? For some reason, my children prefer to show themselves in their original forms. At this moment, my eldest child is swaying her body, asking me to look at her serpent form. Your mother doesn't even dare to look at herself, let alone at you. Humph. If mother won't look at me, it means she doesn't love me. I'm going to find Brother Bruce to look at me instead. Alex hurriedly crawled out of the secret realm. What a flimsy excuse. If you want to find Bruce, just say so. It's not like mother would stop you. Ah, a grown daughter is like spilled water. You can't keep her anymore. I shouted to her from afar. Winnie, it's New Year's Eve today. Go home early for dinner. Got it. As soon as the words fell, the sounds of bang and boom came from the distance again. I sighed helplessly, already used to it. It must be the second and third brothers fighting again. Beasts and divine beasts really don't get along. Whenever they're together, they either argue or fight. They only calm down after their father kicks each of them once. Sigh, no more talking. It's too busy today on New Year's Eve. Ever since Chase and I got married, he's been following my lead. Learning to live like a human. See, he's gone to put up the couplets again. I need to go prepare the New Year's Eve dinner too, wishing all of us a new year filled with happiness, longevity, and good health. After hearing the 2 stories above, what are your thoughts? Feel free to share your opinions in the comments section. Looking forward to hearing from you. If you liked this story, don't forget to like it, share it, and subscribe to my channel. See you next time.